Is Cardano ever going to be dominant? A lot of people might not have the patience for that possibility. I, on the other hand, I have the patience. Played out last time. I think it's going to play out this time, especially when I look at this chart. It is so commonplace. It is so normal. You'd really expect nothing less. And I want to break down what is happening here on ADA dominance. Right now, sitting just below 1% total crypto market cap dominance. I want to give context to this. I want to actually dig into the shorter term charts, talk about short-term targets. Even on the 6 hour, I have this structure that's setting up that I'm really watching this week, and I'm really curious to see how ADA kind of reacts to what's going on. But let's start on the ADA dominance chart and just kind of, I want to break down the story here and bring in some macro context. I'm a macro person. That's why I'm here. It's as a value investor, I'm thinking longer term. I'm not so much caught up into, although these huge moves to the downside in the short term are not fun, I'm not so caught up into it. But in those areas, historically, in crypto in general, there's been opportunity. All right, let's go to the ADA dominance chart. This is a weekly. We're really zoomed out here. This is really the picture of a bear market. That's a picture of a bear market. This green rectangle, this is the picture of a bull market. This is the picture over here of a speculative bull market. I have around August 2024 to around, actually August 2024 to around April or so. That's what that is. But it should be actually August to, let's put a nice year. So August to August. This is based off of, and I want to break this down based off of Bitcoin dominance chart, right? And this is what Bitcoin dominance is doing right now. There's a lot of chatter. Bitcoin dominance has been just on the rise. It currently or recently broke 35 or 50%, and it's still even on the rise right now. But I want to just point something out. Bitcoin dominance in this part of the cycle, meaning in between Bitcoin halvings, going into this next Bitcoin halving, Bitcoin dominance kind of just rising. You can just see in the last cycle, it did the same thing. That's normal. It's something to be anticipated. We're not in altcoin season. Cardano shouldn't really be outperforming Bitcoin right now. But when you start looking in the macro, we get way more important context to what's actually happening here. Macro-wise, this is back in 2016. Here's the bull market doors for Bitcoin being broken and entering a bull market. And what happened? Bitcoin went from like 97% dominance, boom, in that bull market to around 35%. Then it recovered, and kind of where we are right now, it's still on the uptrend, and it put in a lower high. That's a Fibonacci lower high in red that you see there. Put in a lower high going into the halving of 2020. And then what happened? Bull market doors being broken November 2020. Bull market starts. And then what happened in the last bull market? Boom, Bitcoin dominance gets just demolished once again. And then now came into a bear market, and Bitcoin dominance right now starting to rise in between just the halvings. And now we're getting set up for that next bull market. And notice the last two bull markets, the bull market doors, when they're being broken, is post the halving, right? So for me, yeah, could it come earlier? Will we talk about it potentially coming earlier? Yeah, we'll do videos on that and look at the potential. But for me, I like to just use historically what has happened so far and just say, hey, let's anticipate that scenario playing out again if these cycles really do just continue just to rhyme so well. In that case, we can put this bear market or this bull market starting post 2024 halving. What would that mean for altcoins? What would that mean for an ADA dominance chart if the Bitcoin or if the crypto bull market starts all the way over here where this rectangle is? Well, it would mean probably what it meant historically, which is ADA right now. It's just normal to kind of find a bottom range, or even just maybe it puts in a swing high and then it comes back down, but just a range as we lead into the bull market, similar to what happened back here. ADA just kind of ranged, right, in that last bear market, and then preparing for the next bull market kind of came up, and then boom, bull market. That's why if we go to Bitcoin dominance chart, if you just notice in the bull market with Bitcoin dominance falling, this is pretty much alt season. Bull markets in general for crypto, that's alt season there. And so alt season for me is still a ways away when we start seeing altcoins really start dominating. And that's what we're waiting for in the ADA chart. But more importantly is this. SEC calls Cardano ADA a security. This just happened recently, obviously. Addition above charges, SEC charged Coinbase facilitating trading for crypto assets. It calls unregistered securities. ADA is listed there. Binance, same thing. SEC lawsuit accuses Binance of facilitating trading activities for popular tokens. There's ADA, tagged as security. My point in showing you that is even with all of that happening, ADA dominance putting in a higher low on this macro, still sitting just below 1% dominance in an over $1 trillion market cap. Market cap's over $1 trillion right now. ADA is holding its own. And not only holding its own, this chart in general, even if everything that just happened with the SEC didn't happen, this chart just makes sense from especially a crypto like ADA. It tends to underperform in bear markets. And so far, what we know about ADA is it very much overperforms in bull markets because it is a top 5 crypto. It's a blue chip crypto. And I just want to remind everybody, this is ADA total value locked. DeFi right now, as we prepare for all of these things, DeFi right now, going crazy. And can't say that about other chains. That's because the fundamentals are starting to come into play for ADA, for Cardano as a blockchain. And I think it is so well positioned. And the timing of everything that's happening right now with SEC even attacking ADA, the fact that it's happening right here as we're kind of ranging after a bear market and not in the middle of a bull market, that is so big. That is so huge. And I'm really thankful that it's happening right now and not in a bull market, because it gives us time to get through this period of time. And we're getting there. And this leads us over to the ADA charts. Here's ADA on the weekly. The first thing I just want to point out, ADA is down more than others recently because of this huge red candle. That's the market reacting to that news. It was not good news. I definitely am not happy that it happened, but it happened. We've fell below that 20-week moving average, which is such an important area for me to watch on these charts. And right now, the biggest thing I'm watching on ADA is ADA recapturing that area. I don't know when or how it's going to happen, but that's what I'm watching. So I want to tell that story. Before I do on the daily and the 6 hour, I do just want to point out we have some bullish divergence on this RSI, slower moving momentum oscillator. We have a higher low being put in for ADA, and that could be the setup on this macro chart for ADA to get back above that 20-week. But here's where it starts. It starts on the daily, starts on the 6 hour. Let's start with the daily. First things first, I mentioned in a video previously, 20-day moving average, here's ADA. You can just see we're back above that area. That's a stepping stone. It is huge, especially with this confluence of the MACD crossing above the signal line. This is something that I really like. MACD confluence with some type of moving average confluence, namely the 20 moving average. It's important to me. And so because of that, we have these two things triggering. So you can just see last time this triggered, we had a MACD crossing back here in March, and we had ADA crossing above the 20-day moving average in green up here. That's a big deal. And you could just see the uptrend was beginning for ADA then. So this could be an early indicator for us to say ADA's in this reversal right now. And if that's the case, this could be the play for ADA to recapture everything that just happened, meaning all of this downfall, we're recapturing it into the upside. First resistance area before we really dig into this 6 hour chart that I'm finding very interesting in terms of structure. Just the first obvious resistance area is a swing high, not even a swing high, just a consolidation area before ADA really fell off. And it's just this lower high area. It always just makes sense for ADA or any crypto just to retrace to the Fibonacci. It's a 618 around 32 cents, 786 around 35 cents. It just makes sense to get there. Doesn't mean it's bullish. What we're waiting for is to break above. And notice what's there. Right at the 786 around 35 cents, the 200-day moving average. And the 50-day just right below it, around 33, 34 cents. So a lot of confluent resistance right in that area. We can just call it 33 to 35 cents. That's a huge resistance area. So can ADA bounce off the 20-day, make its move to this area? What happens here? That's what I'll be watching on the daily. And this could be the setup for that move to even happen in the first place. We have this, finally some structure, I guess you could call it. It's not the cleanest or most beautiful structure, but it's structure. And after all of this mess that we had, the capitulation, it's the first structure we have on the 6 hour. kind of like this lower trend line that you see here. Now, because of this recent retracement, this recent swing high, we have an upper trend line in play, and we have a target to the upside right around 38 cents. So that 38 cents is kind of like, is that going to happen in the shorter term, the longer term? I don't think it's necessarily something I'll anticipate this weekend. Obviously, we're in this channel now, and I'll just be monitoring it. I don't always track these shorter term 6 hour charts. You know that if you watch my technical analysis. But when we're trying to get out of this capitulation, and when I'm really watching to see if ADA can manage to recapture all of those losses, this is where structure does become important on the 6 hour for me. So it's just a matter of, is it going to retrace to this upper trend line, 31 cents? Is it going to test that area in the short term? Are we going to fall to 26, 27 cents, test the lower trend line? I'm going to really be watching ADA closely in terms of how it's consolidating right now in this higher high, higher low little setup that it's in. But just notice that 38 cents area target out of the short term, very important, because what do we have? We have the resistance we just looked at on the daily up to around 35 cents. And then potentially, more importantly, we have on the weekly chart, the 20-week moving average, that resistance around 36 cents. That's an insanely important macro area for me personally, probably for a lot of people, for ADA to recapture. And it really all starts with the setup on the zoomed in 6 hour. So this is everything I'm watching in terms of Cardano charts. I really wanted to tie in ADA dominance and what's going on there, provide some context. I think it's something that we should probably continue tracking throughout the story of ADA. This is a macro thing. So for me, I just know it requires a lot of patience for things to play out. But I know what happened last time. And I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen again, but I think it's in play. And that, with everything Cardano has going on, that means something to me. So everybody, those are my thoughts. I hope you're having an awesome weekend. Please hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Trying to just put out this crypto content on a daily basis. Turn the notifications on. Hit the like button for me. Your support really does mean a lot. And I'll see you in the next video. God bless.